Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Haydn Adams with A Designer Who Codes. In this video, I want to talk more about content tags. Now, in our last video, we talked about the overall structure of HTML, HTMLs, heads, bodies. We talked about the nav, the main, and the footer. What I want to focus on today is more about the H's. We'll go into the paragraph or P tags and the UL, LI, and the OL, LI, which I consider content tags. And with that, let's get started. All right, welcome back. Once again, my name is Haydn Adams with A Designer Who Codes, and in these series of videos, it's more HTML, CSS 101, and specifically in this one, I'll talk about content tags. Now, a tag is still a tag is still a tag. And in HTML, a tag is defined by the word or the letter immediately preceding the less than sign. So in this example I have right here, we have an HR tag because the HR is immediately after the less than sign. We also have a nav, we have a main, and an H1, and an H2, and an H3. Tags are just tags, but when it comes to HTML, there's kind of two categories of tags. There's structural tags, in my opinion. Now, that's not a technical term, but the nav says the structural area is on the top part of the website. The structural main nav organizes the content in the main part of the website, and the footer tag, of course, is at the footer of the website. Inside of all of these three tags are content tags, or just tags. And there's really the big three that I want to talk about today. The first are all of your H's. And if we save this page, making sure I didn't do any changes, and we take a look at it, we have this is the main title of a website, this is a subtitle, and of course you'll never use the H6, but you'll probably use the H3. You can use as many tags as you want, even though I recommend using basically only one H1 if possible, because that's like a chapter title of a book. There's only really one chapter title, but there's a lot of subtitles as well. So the H's, which you always can identify a tag because it opens and closes if it doesn't self-close, which of course makes no sense on its outset, but let's describe that. The H1 opens around, this is the main title of the website, and it closes with a less than sign / H1. Now we have what's a mono tag or a self-closing tag up here in the horizontal rule. There's no opening and closing, so thereby it self-closes onto itself. Less than sign, HR, space, /. For more tags that open and close, I'll do more videos in the future, but what I want to focus on today are the big three of content tags. The H1, H2, and H3, of course, are all headlines, but we also have what are called P tags. And P tags, if I type less than sign P, this is a paragraph. And if I save it, hey, this is a paragraph. Now, it doesn't look much like a paragraph because it's one sentence. So let's head over to our favorite site, lipsum. I think it's lipsum.org, or is it .com? Let's see, did I get it right? I did get it right. Oh, it is lipsum.com. They just set a forwarding. Sweet. So lorem ipsum is great because it just provides dummy type. So let's add or create two paragraphs. Here is one. I'll copy this and I'll paste it in my P tag. And what I'll do after that is type P again, and I'll make a space between for extra areas. And now we can then copy and paste this. Sweet. The great part about code is spacing really doesn't matter, so you can create extra spaces between your tags if you need them, just to see it a little better. Let me save this, and I'm going to come back over here. Now, thanks Google Translate, it doesn't translate anything. The reason why lorem ipsum is being used is it is just dummy type. So now we have paragraphs. Perfect. I'm not getting into CSS because I want to make sure I use the proper tags. I'm not focusing on the design side, I'm focusing on the structure of the content first. So whenever I set a page up, I ask myself the question, is it a headline or is it a paragraph? That's the first two I choose from. If it is a headline, Do I already have an H1? So thereby I need to create an H2. The next question, of course, I ask is if I have an H2, do I need to create a second H2? Or do I need to create multiple H2s? So I can put the H2 right after the paragraph. So thereby, now I have the main title. Thanks, Google Translate. This is the main title, and I have a subtitle and a paragraph. Then I have the secondary subtitle. That's the same as the H2 and the paragraph. The other option to choose from is an unordered or an ordered list. So when it comes to the big three, there are headlines, paragraphs, and then lists. And a list looks like this. So after the paragraph tag, I'm going to type UL. And UL, which notice when I type it in, and of course I'm using VS Studio Code, so it self-closes for me. In a UL, it stands for unordered list. And in the unordered list, I'm going to say LI. So now we have two set of tags. The UL stands for unordered list, and the LI stands for a list item. So I will say this is list item 01, and I'm going to copy and paste this just for the sake of speed. And I'll say list item 2. And we'll do one more, and we'll say 3. Note how there's only one set of ULs right here, but there's multiple LIs. Now keep in mind, if I save this, it now looks like an unordered list. The unordered list, Google, can you just stop one of these days? I'm not really quite sure. Anyways, so we have the unordered list. What that consists of are bullet points. It's not a paragraph. It's not a headline. It's a list. So you might want to say something like paragraph list of, I can type today, states we deliver to. And so this might then say, we deliver to California. We can say Nevada, and we'll say Oregon. So what that now looks like is list of states. Now there's a list. Another way of doing it is you can also create a numerical or an ordered list or an OL. So you might want to say OL and then LI. This is step 1. And if I copy and paste this again, step 2, step 3. And now down below, which of course it's kind of self-evident, but notice how the 1 got placed before the type. And then this is step 2, and this is step 3. Now what we're seeing are different design elements, not design elements. We are looking at HTML elements. We'll focus on the CSS later on, but noticing in here we have a couple of different options to choose from. I'm not focusing on the design as I am focusing on the right content and the right markup. So the H's are properly placed, and then we have a paragraph. And we're, once again, since I can have multiple H2s, this is a subtitle, this is a subtitle, this is a paragraph, the ULs and the OLs. Do I use the OL that much? No, I really don't. In fact, more times than not, you won't find it. However, you might need it as a step-by-step process. You might need a 1, 2, 3, 4. And in CSS, we can change all of this. However, if we don't get our tags in the right order, then all things can go haywire. And so in part 2 of this, I want to talk about more of the design or the content in terms of the tags, the H's, the paragraphs, and the ULLI. Now what I will not do is this. I won't put a paragraph. This should not be here. Because if you think about it, what I created was a ULP, which means I have an unordered list paragraph. And if that sounds strange to you, it is to me. So in CSS, I would never code a ULP because the paragraphs are paragraphs and the ULs are ULs, and never the twain or two shall meet. There are a few exceptions here and there, but for the most part, 99.99% of the time, you really should not mix these three. What I would also not do is I'm not going to put an H2 and a P together. So if I would copy and paste that, because if you think about it, an H2 paragraph doesn't make a lot of sense. If it's a headline, keep it a headline, and if it's a paragraph, keep it a paragraph. The reason why it's important to note these big three is we're going to go into our CSS later on and design for these. But if we had an H2P or a ULP or any other combination of tags that were not really the right way, then it really makes our CSS create headaches, and that results in more code. And so in this example, think about when you're working on a project, is it a headline? Is it a paragraph? Or is it a list? Ready to continue becoming a better web designer through code? Check out more of my videos through my channel, A Designer Who Codes. Thanks so much for watching.